think I found my dream truck. And she's free. Careful. Got it off of there. Welcome back to Idaho Classic Trucks. This is part 9 in the series of my F250 build, and today we're going to build upper shock mounts for the King shocks. I got to get the suspension completed. This is the last piece of the puzzle, so I'm ready for the engine when it arrives in just a few days. I'll show you all the CAD work, the fabrication, the design, and everything, and we'll get it done. Let's make it happen. Here's the bed I bought. I have my own tailgate. He's keeping this tailgate, even though it's a pretty straight one. The one I have is real nice too. It's a very, very clean bed. A couple of minor little things here and there. That's just dirt. It's very straight. Straight here. A couple little minor little dent right there. One right there and a couple things, but that's all easy to get to. Very, very clean, very straight. Yeah, this will be sweet, man. A lot of times when I build towers and brackets and stuff that are kind of complex, I like to use just basic cardboard to get a basic template, and then I can transfer it to my computer. Uh-oh, my tires are here. Now this is service. This is just-in-time services. Hey, buddy.
I was just in time.
Nice, very nice. Thank you for bringing them by.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, very, very, very sweet, man.
Those ought to fit the bill, huh?
Yeah, I'm ready to throw one on. I got a space just for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right up here. Yeah, that's going to look really good, isn't it?
It will look amazing.
I can lower that if you need. Have you done this before?
Once in the past 32 years, maybe.
That's a nice size.
Yeah, it looks really good.
With that green.
It's gonna pop.
And the chrome on that grill. I got the 69 grill.
Yeah, it's gonna be magic.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I set the shock at about 7 inches of up travel. I'm ultimately shooting for about 5.5 or so, because once I put the motor in here, it'll sink down. So I could go a little lower if I wanted to, I guess, but I don't want to run out of travel, and I'm not flexing the thing that much. You definitely don't want it too low. So 7 should be okay. 6.5 to the center of the bolt. Okay. So my frame is about 5. I'm going to run it basically kind of like this, at this angle, and I'm going to use these 2 bolts over here, drill that one out. We'll have 4 bolts on it, so I'll run it like that. This is about, I'm going to make that about 7.5 to clear that. Okay, so 6.5 to the center, to the top of the frame, plus 5, 7.5 wide, and probably like, let me roll that forward, probably like 10 at the bottom, maybe. All right, let's go draw that in the computer and see what happens. Okay, so what I'm going to do, those are my lower shock mounts. Let's slip back over here. I don't have my mouse working, and it's really annoying. For whatever reason, it quit working on me. But I will just work over here and do the best I can with what I have. Okay, so what did I say? we're going to go, the way I do this is I draw something here. I said I want it to be 10 inches at the bottom, so 10 inches wide, and 6.5 plus 5, so that'll be to the center. So this will be a back plate and 2 side pieces, and then I'll make a separate top piece. Because I don't have my metal brake anymore, I'll have to do it in separate pieces, but I can do it really well. Let's see here. So we want 11.5 to the center of the bolt. And then what I want to do is copy that, and then instead of 10 wide, I want 7.5 wide. And then what I have to do, the way I do it anyway, is I go here, 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 and there. I don't need those anymore. 6.5 is the center of the bolt. Obviously this has to be higher, so let me measure that real quick. The center of the bolt to the top of my plate, I think I wanted about 1 1.25. So I want to add 1 1/4 to the top of this. I made a little thicker line so it might make it easier for you to see it. My bolt hole is about 9/16, 0.564. Give ourselves a little more here. So that goes in the center of that. Now, that's not true, is it? Okay, hold on a minute. So this whole thing here is 6 1/4. Okay, which puts that at about 1 1/4 from the edge. I have made it 7.5. 1 1/4. Wait, let me do some math here. Math, oh no! For that. No, that's not right. Something right there. Oh, I gotta move this over here. There we go. So yeah, from here to here is 1.25 plus the difference. So 1 7/8. 1.875 is where the hole will be, right there. Okay, and that should give me plenty of room from the edge of the shock to the edge of the metal that's going to be coming up there. I don't need anything over here as far as a hole goes, so get rid of all this. And then this and this can be welded together like that. So now we have a hole, and I'll show you that because I can do a shadow here. Come on. You can do it. So see, that's the basic shape right there. There'll be a spacer right here between that and the back of the shock. And then there'll be another piece that comes out over. It'd be kind of a little canopy tower. So I'm basically drawing that same pattern on here on this cardboard so that I can cut that out and kind of get a general idea of where I want to cut the angle for the frame. Now there's lots of ways to do this, but I have learned over the years that it's just better in some situations to make a cardboard template to make sure things fit before you start cutting a bunch of metal and wasting money. You know, that gets expensive quick, especially if you're doing it as a business. So I'm just gonna do it this way, and I thought that was cutting all the way through there. I guess not. So I'm just going to take my time and be as creative as possible with the design and make sure this whole thing fits. Now I can go over to the frame and figure this part out. So then I can lay this up here. I'm going to use these 4 bolt holes, most likely. So I'm going to line this up just generally where I want it. I wanted to cover the edge of that. I'll kind of make it just above flush on the bottom there. Take this, sort of clamp it on there like that. Then what I can do, once I have that kind of lined up, I can come here and say, okay, did I meet my goal here on my measurement? I'm about 6 right there. I think I might have said 6.5. And so it's a tiny bit lower than I'd like. But there's no rules here, right? I can raise this up if I want. I don't need this to come all the way down. I can bring it up in a 1/2 inch right there, so just kind of eyeball that. That'll look nice. And now I am right at 6.5 there. 6.5 there. Well, that worked out pretty good. That worked out real good. And that'll look good on there. It'll have a piece that comes out this way and on the side. And I can verify that my shock is going to fit inside of this situation here. The shock is going to go right about there. That's pretty good. I like that. And then I'll build another piece that comes out over this way on top of that. I'll get creative with that. And what I need to do is kind of measure that next. That's why you have to do this stuff in sort of in real space, you know, because you can visualize to a certain point, but you know, when you want to do it just right, so that's at 7. That's right on. I don't need to worry about that right at this moment, but I want to make sure I'm rotated this way nice and straight. I can rotate it in a little bit just to give a little bit more of an angle here. So to the outside from this piece, from the back plate roughly, it looks to be about, I could probably go as close as 3.5 from the back of it, and then put a plate across the front. 3.5. That's an important measurement. Okay. So now that I have the back plate generally designed as far as the overall size, I can do fancy things with it. I need to do the side pieces. And I know that I said, I think I said 3.5. At the top. So I kind of want the shape like, let's start here, sort of come up like this, I'll come out here about like that, and I will come up here about like that, come over here, come up, and I'll make a general shape there for the side. Now I can bring my corner down to right where that bend is. What I like to do as I'm working is I like to just copy and paste the one I'm working on so I can always go back if I start screwing this up. It just saves you time in the end if you don't have to mess things up so much. Let's see here. Do I want about a 0.5 curve on that? How does that look down here? A little bit small. Let's do 1 on that. We'll do 1 on that. And then that'll be straight. This will be straight. So let's say this top hole here is 0.5. 0.5. Oh, that's a little small. Let's do 1. A lot of this stuff is just visual preference, you know. And see, that's a little too big, so let's do 0.75. You don't want to take too much material out of it. It's just a shock. If there was a coilover, you got to have different rules. You can need a lot more strength, but this won't require much. Let's do 1.125. And then we'll do 1.625. So that'll be the side profile of the shock mount. 2 of those. You know what I might do? I'm going to round that a little because that way when I bend this over, it'll give me a nice radius to put that on. So there we go. I think this is a possibility that this could work really well here. Another thing I did, I put this on the frame and I put the bolt through the backside and marked where the holes are and just pushed it into this. Now I can measure where this is and cut it out. Okay, so then, you know, I don't have to worry about the other holes because I can put those wherever I want. All right, so there's that. Now we have our shock tower, basically. We have our shock tower. Now what does a guy do to make it a little fancier, huh? Some sort of pattern in the middle there. I don't know. There's no rules. So I've decided to just leave it solid. I think it's just a small enough piece that doesn't need any more than the side pieces. So we're done there. I'm going to cut it out. So this bolt goes in there, like that. That one goes right in there like that. Hey, that looks pretty good. That works out. Now I got to bend the sides. It's not much of a bend, just a slight bend. So I think I can just, I'll put it right on that mark. Now you can see the angle is right on both of them. That one's still a little hot, but that'll look good with both of those like that. That'll be a nice tower. That's the basic structure there. Then I'll do the top plate that comes over and the bolt goes through here, the shock goes underneath. Progress! There we go. See how nice that is? Goes right on there. And then my shock will fit right in there like that. The bolt will go through there, and then I'll put a top plate over here and the bolt will go through that too with just a couple spacers. Look how nice that'll look. Look at that! Doesn't that look sweet, man? That's as good or better than I expected. I might not have a bolt long enough to do this right now, but we'll see. We will see. I don't know. I don't think so. But I can use a different bolt too. I don't have to have this one. If I need a longer one. But that's basically where it's going to sit. Like that. That looks killer, man. I like that a lot. Look at that, man. That looks really good on there. I like it. I like that a lot. I like that a whole lot. That's really, really neat, man. And then I'll make a cool little plate that goes here. I'll have it come down here. I might go straight and back up. I'm not sure. I might do something cool right here. It'll go right across and bend over the top of it. Wow. That looks professional. Very, very cool. I'm happy with that. I'm glad I went with the 7.5 wide here because it gives you, plenty of room and it looks really good. It's not going to interfere with anything. And I already turned the wheel to make sure it won't hit anything, so that's neat. And I love that it bolts on there. I love that it bolts on there. Doesn't that look good? Okay, I got both of those made. Now I just got to do the top plates. Okay, so I got them finished. Last night I thought I was recording and my camera wasn't recording like I thought. So I came out this morning just to get a video for you guys. I cut these out, these little plates. I put Idaho Classic Trucks in there, the little logo. And took them over to a friend of mine and he bent them for me on his brake. Took him about 2 seconds. He didn't even charge me a dime, so that was nice. Brought them back, welded them in, and ran over and got some hardware. And they just fit so nice. Look at that. I got them both done. Now I'll get them powder coated, and they'll be ready to roll. That's the color. On the video it kind of shows up as more of a minty green.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, but
Yeah, I noticed that some colors I was wearing.
oh, nice door panels. That is so sharp. That's gonna look great. right, guys, that does it for this video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and share. Really helps the channel grow. There's going to be a lot more videos coming. It's going to get exciting now. The motor's coming. The cab is almost done painted. And it's going to really start going together. As you saw in some of the pictures, the cab interior is already done. All that stuff's done. The wiring is done. So it's really going to go together quickly. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned, guys. And be nice to each other.